here we are at the Shriek Fest with John on my left.
Hello.
And James, producers of the movie The Millennium Bug. Now, can you gentlemen fill me in a little bit on your movie?
Sure. It is a no CGI giant monster movie. It's Godzilla Meets the Hills Have Eyes. Shot it in a 600 square foot warehouse in North Hollywood, California, over about a 14-month period.
Very cool. Do you have anything to add to that, John?
Only that it was done entirely with practical effects, miniatures, animatronics, puppetry.
And if I recall from what I read, you're in the film, John?
Yes, I'm one of the actors, one of the hillbillies, and that's actually how my involvement with the film started. I was an actor first and signed on as a producer later.
You said it took over 14 months?
Yeah, it took about 14 months to shoot it, right.
3 years to make it.
Exactly. Added pre-production and post-production, we're looking a lot closer to 3 years.
And what was the budget for the movie?
It was under $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cash out of pocket under $50,000. But you know, as far as back-end deals and everything else, it's quite a bit more than that.
Do you have anyone picking up for distribution?
Got offers on the table. We're entertaining a variety of options at the moment.
Excellent.
Ask us again in a month, and we should have an answer for you.
You should have money in the hand and get ink on the contract.
Certainly hope so.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about the movie.
Well, it's you know, the original idea was the director, Ken Cran, is not here right now. He's currently at another festival, but should be here in a few hours, hopefully. But he got the idea while working at KPBS in San Diego back in 1999. When
very cool.
There were stories about the upcoming Y2K and the Millennium Bug, you know, and the computer glitch everybody's probably familiar with. And he thought, wow, what a great title for a movie. So he went home and wrote the treatment, which is quite a bit different from what the final movie is today. It was actually a comedy, horror, sci-fi mixture. But a few years ago, when we decided that, you know, now was the time, we're at the right place in our lives to be able to pull this off, it was decided that the more marketable way was to change it away from the comedy horror, which is the hardest genre to market and to sell, to make it more of a straight horror. Although it's far from a straight horror, it's you know, it's a daikaiju. It's a man in suit, giant monster movie. So we decided, you know, we're going to make this over the top. We're going to do as many practical effects as we can, you know, with the blood, the guts, the you know, the giant full-size monster head we ended up building, again, to make it as marketable as possible.
How big was the monster head?
It's about as big as a Chevy. Actually about as big as a Honda. It was a giant styrofoam block that was strapped to the roof of the Honda. Picked it up from a styrofoam factory, took it back to the garage / warehouse, and slowly carved away the shape of the bug's head. And it's about 300 pounds right now, and it's in storage, and so we do have it available.
So it's actually the size of a Honda, and you know this because you carried it on a Honda.
That's right. And it's big enough to put somebody in it and watch them get chewed up.
Oh, wow.
And that's exactly what happens.
Awesome.
To someone.
Anyone in this table?
Can't say. Perhaps.
I'm putting my bet on you. John, tell me, what was your favorite part about making the movie?
Finishing it.
Just so glad to be done.
There was a lot about this film that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of camaraderie. There was a lot of really extreme teamwork like I haven't seen on most shoots, just in the sense that you had people pulling ropes who were there to do something completely different than that, and that's just sort of how it all ended up happening. I mean, I feel like half the people on the set sort of by necessity turned into jack of all trades.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So from a collaborative standpoint, it was a lot of fun. It was also excruciatingly long, very, very hot. We were pretending that it was New Year's Eve and we were shooting in a 95-degree warehouse with no AC. And at one point they had a scene with a campfire in it, which was lit inside a 95-degree warehouse.
Oh, wow.
So you can only imagine how hot it got after
Let me just add to that it happened to be, when we shot that scene, it just happened to be a record-breaking heat wave that came through Southern California. So literally outside, it was about 110 degrees. Inside, no AC, as John mentioned, movie lights, a campfire, and about 14 cast and crew.
And the cast wearing flannels and heavy clothes.
Is a camping site.
Right.
So they're all bundled up because it's
freezing out.
It's December 31st, 1999. So
you asked what my favorite part was? Like I said, finishing.
Excellent. Well, there's one question I usually like to ask, and it usually comes out in various different ways. But James, tell me something that maybe you've never told anybody at an interview or about the movie. That's just one of think of something. If there was a question I could ask that would elicit the most amazing response that you've never even thought to tell in an interview or had the right question. Tell me something just weird and amazing about the making of this movie.
Wow, that's tough. Because we've done quite a few interviews. John, if there's something that pops up in your head, by all means.
I got a story about one of the shots, one of the days.
Sounds good.
In one of the scenes, my character has to crash through the roof of a building onto a floor, and a certain amount of it can be accomplished with camera tricks. And
you're about to get beaten.
A certain amount of it can be accomplished with camera tricks and angles and forced perspective and frame rates and everything else. But when it came down to it, I had to fall from a decent height onto my back. And I think the single thing about the entire shoot that shocked me the most was how much one can be protected by proper stunt gear. I did all the stunts myself because there wasn't the budget or the personnel to have anybody else do it for me. But we had a stunt coordinator on set for that day, and he rigged me up and he put on these armadillo stuntmen paddings on my back, and I was falling on my spine from 7-8 feet in the air 15 times. Didn't feel a damn thing. I mean, it was phenomenal. It was
funny because I wasn't
amazing.
there. I wasn't there for that day shooting.
I was.
But,
I would think.
But when I saw the footage of that, I'm like, wow, that had to hurt, because when he hits the ground, it is. I mean, it's hard. It's boom. I'm like, oh my God.
Right.
He's got to be hurt.
Is John okay?
Yeah. But yeah, it makes me happy to hear that he was able to do it.
I was a little skeptical going in, but I was shocked coming out how much the brunt of the force is taken by the stunt gear.
But there is something that I think is really, really cool about this movie. A lot of the effects, I mean, they're all practical effects, but a lot of them were just kind of figuring it out through trial and error and testing. And one night in particular, this was before we even started shooting the live actors, because we shot all the miniature stuff first. We shot the monster, we shot all that stuff. Normally you shoot that stuff later. You do live action first, but we had to do it first for a couple of reasons. But the main reason being that we had to know that this was going to work.
Right.
Because this movie's gonna succeed or it's gonna fail based on the monster.
Right.
So that's why we took the 4 months to build the 1/6 scale miniature ghost town and this cabin painstakingly with tongue depressors from the medical store down the street, breaking them in half and one by one gluing them as shingles on this cabin, which the creature eventually destroys. But the trial and error, I was recently looking on my computer and came across some behind the scenes footage that I had forgotten about. And when the creature comes up out of the ground, it's explosive, because that's what the director wanted. He wanted to see this thing. Dirt shooting up all over the place, and wow, how are we going to do that, So one night before we left, my mom was visiting. It was just my brother and I there, and my mom, and we're like, hey, let's take a 2-liter bottle of soda here that we have left over, cut it in half, filled it with dirt, and just took an an air compressor. We had an air compressor on set. Stick the hose in there, and and start shooting air and see what it does to the dirt. And so I'm standing there, or sitting there actually, and I'm shooting air through this bottle of soda.
Right.
Dirt's shooting up all over covering me. And my brother is there just with a little video camera videotaping it.
Awesome.
And it was that little test at 11 o'clock at night, right before going home for the day, that ultimately is the very effect that we used for the creature coming up out of the ground.
Wow.
And there was, I think there was 4 of us. We had some splitters on the hoses, and there were 4 of us hiding just below where the creature was coming up. And as Ken, he would call, hose 1, hose 2, hose 3, and we're shooting up this dirt. And then when you watch the movie, you'll see the bug coming up out of the ground. And keep in mind that right behind and just below the surface are 4 guys going like this, shooting dirt on cue.
But that's exactly how it works in CGI, right? There's 4 little guys under the computer.
Yeah, that's it.
Little demons.
Same thing.
But it works, and it works, and it's just so amazing what you can do if you just have to get MacGyver like on the set and figure out what will work. How can we accomplish this without CGI?
There's your answer. Somebody asked us to describe the movie in 1 word the other day. There's our answer.
MacGyver-like?
MacGyver. No, just MacGyver.
Well, that can be interpreted several different ways.
I suppose that's true.
As long as it's not MacGruber.
It fits. If the shoe fits.
MacGyver, not MacGruber. Yeah. Sorry, something caught in my throat when you said that. Very cool. Anything additional you'd like to add before we close the interview?
Just that people can check out on the website our trailer, some behind the scenes footage, and can also purchase the DVD for only $15. The site is mbugmovie.com.
mbugmovie.com.
Like Millennium Bug, so mbug.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
This guy right here, he's in the movie.
He's in the movie. This is one of the actors in the very movie.
It's one of the baby bugs. We call it a bugling. And watch for the sequel.
Did you notice I actually now I'm actually in the
yes, you've inserted yourself into the story. Well done.
I've physically inserted myself into it. That wasn't CGI either.
All practical finger effects.
Thank you very much. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
James and John. John. John and James.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thanks, man.